Hi everybody, my name is Greg and welcome to Greg's Creative Lab. In today's session we're going to be talking and we'll be discussing the concepts and the visual imagery that goes behind one of the logos that I created for one of my clients. I would like to remind everybody this is not a technical session where I teach or instruct people how to use Adobe Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop and how to technically create graphic artwork. It is important to let everybody know that yes, a logo is a graphic symbol and it is a visual representation, but a really good logo design, which is the visual cornerstone of a brand and a visual cornerstone of your brand, a client's service, your client's products, is unique. It needs to be simple and it needs to be unique and relative to that client only. That's what's going to make a good logo and a good representation of your client's brand message, if you will, that people will remember. So let's move on. My client today that I'll be sharing with you is a company called Home Forge Remodeling. In discussing in our first meeting with our client, he created the name Home Forge because he wanted an image of strength and stability. And as we discussed different ideas behind a logo in a brand, he kept going back to what a forge is. And a forge is back, I'll say in the early 1900s, maybe even the 1800s, where we have a big block of metal called an anvil and we had a hammer. And a forge is the process of taking hot metal and pounding it with a metal hammer against another metal block. This represented the formation of tools that are used to build other objects and used in construction. They're strong and they're sturdy. And that was part of the message that he wanted to convey to his clients. So the solution I came up with after exploring a lot of different types of visual imagery was this: Home Forge Remodeling. So in this particular graphic image, we have an image of the anvil, a representation of a sheet of metal, and we have the anvil. This particular graphic square is designed visually to pick up on different characteristics of the font, which I'll get back to, we'll get back to in a little bit later. So moving forward, what I really like about this, the message is simple and to the point. The hammer and the anvil create a literal interpretation of a company name while projecting what the company does. It brings shape, form, and function to the client's home. So let's move on to talk a little bit about the final solution with the typography. Here you see the graphic image with the logo type, and the logo type is the typography, the words spelled out. This particular font is called Goudy hand-tooled. So Goudy hand-tooled is a traditional font that's also timeless. So we have a solution here from a font that will look good tomorrow, next year, 10, 20 years from now. It's a traditional font that will never go out of style. That's important to say because some fonts and some solutions are very trendy. You want to capture the here and now. This client wanted to make sure he had a strong, sturdy representation of his company that was also traditional and lasting. The nice thing about this particular font, Goudy hand-tooled, is it also has a hand-tooled quality. The serifs, as you can see right here, are soft and rounded, and that represents a friendly feeling to the overall font. Now getting back to the overall design of the graphic mark and the graphic type, or the logo type, is how they two graphically represent each other. If you can see here, we have these little edges on the square, and we also have this unique treatment. I picked up this treatment from the letter H, which you can see right here. I hope you can see it. So we have a similar treatment of the H, and these are serifs. So I picked up on the serifs from the H, and I incorporated them, not in just a set square, if you will, but I created the rounded edges and this similar graphic treatment to relate to the H. So in this particular solution, we have a very strong, very recognizable symbol with the anvil, the metal, and the anvil block, and I totally did that backwards. What we have here in this symbol, in this graphic mark, is the anvil, which is a metal hammer. So what we have here in this graphic mark, which is a very unique mark, and is very unique to his industry as well, is we have the hammer, which is a metal hammer, and the anvil block, which is metal, surrounded by this unique square where we've picked up on the treatment with the typography and the letter forms for the final logo. So here you can see the final solution where we've combined the logo mark with the logo type to create the entire image for my client. It was a very clean and simple solution, and I just wanted to share also a different way to show your logos. There are applications where we want to make sure we're emphasizing the company name. So here we create a different proportion of the graphic mark with the logo type. And then sometimes we want to emphasize just the graphic image by itself, and we've reduced the size of the name. Both of these work depending on what application we're using for the client, but I think this is a great example of how we take the hand-tooled or the unique characteristics of a typeface and incorporate it into the graphic mark itself. So they combine to create a very strong image for my client. My client brings shape, brings form and function to their clients' homes through providing very strong, sturdy, and lasting remodeling services. So I hope you enjoyed today's presentation, sharing a little bit more about what goes behind the thought process and the discussion behind a great logo. Always remember, a logo is more than a symbol. It's a unique visual representation of your client's unique services and message that they want to portray. That's the difference between a graphic mark and a great logo design, which represents the visual cornerstone of your client's message. So moving forward, we're going to be discussing a lot of different logos and logo concepts which I've created over my career. As you can see behind us here, there's a variety of symbols and a variety of logos, each representing something different, from major corporations, restaurants, and events, all different graphics, which means something unique to each individual client. So please tune into my channel later and we'll discuss more in depth different logo concepts and different designs, many of which I created myself, but we'll also cover different logos from other designers and other design firms, some which you may know and some which might be new to you. I hope you learned something and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.